Hi, this is Alex with Maple Leaf Coffee Roasters in Roselle. I'm here today to talk about our March 2026 Club Coffee, a fun, natural process coffee from Mexico. Check it out. So as a reminder to everyone, our Club Coffee program is something that we do where we bring in a members-only coffee each and every month, roast it 3 different ways, try some new and different things either with the coffee or the roast process or a bit of both. Every once in a while we bring in something that we've never actually seen before, and while we've had Mexican coffees time and time again, both in our club and on our regular shelf, we have never done a natural process Mexican coffee. So this is the kind of thing that the Club Coffee program gets you access to. If you are interested in joining the club, feel free to drop me a message anywhere you can, and we'll add you to the wait list. There's always a couple of people on that list waiting to join as soon as somebody drops off. So as I said, this is a natural process coffee from Mexico. Generally speaking, when we've had the Mexican coffees in our shelves, we've always done them as medium roasts. They are loved by our customers because they are creamy, mellow, easy to drink, low acidity, very approachable coffees that are just easy to like no matter what kind of coffee you're into. And when we get something that has a different kind of speed or a different processing method to it, like this coffee, it is a fun twist on something that people have come to know and love on our shelf, and even through the Club Coffee program where we've had a couple of different Mexican coffees before, but never something that is a natural process. So as a reminder to all the club members out there, the natural processing method for coffee is something that gives a coffee usually an extra depth of flavor, usually a little bit of variety. A lot of times in African coffees, a natural process will give a kind of more fruity, usually a little bit of a sharper tint to the coffee. And though this is something that is similar but distinct enough from the normal Mexican coffee flavor profile, this is also not a coffee that's going to be sharp or acidic. So I'm really curious to see what my club members think of this coffee, because while we do have some people that really like those acidic, exotic, weird coffees, this is also something that is going to be a nice kind of comfort food coffee for a lot of the Mexican coffee flavor profile, the people that like that kind of profile, but also be something new and exotic to those people that are always looking for something different and out of the ordinary for our club coffees. So let's start out with the roast profiles on each of these. We didn't do a super dark roast on the dark roast profile, but also even the medium and the light. Very clean, very consistent, very pretty looking coffee. This is not too uncommon for Mexican coffees. They're generally very high quality, easy to roast, easy to work with. And for a natural process coffee, not a super chaffy coffee either. A lot of times the natural process coffees do produce a lot of chaff, basically the skin of the coffee as it's being roasted. And this is one that was fairly easy to roast and fairly approachable. A little bit of a shorter roast profile on this one. So sometimes when the coffee is transferred from my sample roaster to my production machines, what we do is we try to match the development phase percentages. And this isn't the only thing that's done to transfer that coffee, but it is a really good yardstick to see, am I able to move the coffee from one machine to another and keep the flavor and taste consistent as possible. So a little bit of a shorter development time for these coffees, both especially on the medium and the dark coffees. So you won't have a super roasty profile in any of these 3, but this will still be an interesting exotic coffee nonetheless. Let's start out with the light roast coffee. In each of these coffees, you're going to see a lot of the conventional Mexican flavor profile, the creamy, the mellow, the low acidity kind of thing. But here's where this is going to be different. The light and the medium are very sweet. And this isn't the kind of sweet where it's like a sugary sweet or a sharp sweet. It's going to be something where it's kind of a mild sweetness that is more of a richer, fuller kind of sweet. And there's a tiny bit of like a berry hint to it as well. That mellow creaminess kind of matches quite nicely, and it's quite pleasant kind of flavor with the kind of berry notes. They're very subtle. They're in the background. You taste them more as the coffee cools. It's definitely there in the aroma, but the aroma of the grounds themselves, you do get more of a nuttiness. It's not quite like the nuttiness that we see out of some of our holiday coffees from Papua New Guinea, but it's definitely there at the edges. And overall, the light roast has a just easygoing, easy to drink, a little bit of a lemon citrus kind of tint to it, but not as strong as what we normally see out of some of the Mexican coffees on our normal shelf. Dry finish to the light roast as well. So this is something that once you finish it, your mouth will leave a little bit of a dryness in it. Not a bad thing by any means, but it's just a different flavor in coffee. You don't normally see it, especially out of a lot of Central American coffees. Moving on to the medium roast profile. This is where we turn into the more kind of chocolatey flavors that we normally see when you get into medium roast. That nuttiness was still there in the aroma of the grounds themselves. Very sweet. So I think if you are a person that normally likes a medium roast Peru coffee, because it has a chocolatey, sweeter kind of finish to it, this is something that you'll really like the medium roast on this coffee this month. It's very similar to the conventional Mexican profile, as I've mentioned, but you get a richer sweetness out of this that we just don't normally see out of some of the Mexican coffees that we have on our normal shelf. So I think if you are in the market for that kind of thing as a medium roast, this will be a really great option for you this month. Still that creaminess to it. The overall feel that I got when I was tasting the brewed coffee was that it was just a kind of pleasant sweet, very easy on the stomach, something that I could just drink all day long without really feeling like I drank a whole ton of coffee either, which is a fun characteristic sometimes for coffee too. Little bit of a dryness to it as well, not quite like the light roast. It was still had that kind of dry finish to it, but not in the same way that the light roast did. A little bit more of a richer finish and a very round feel overall. And when I say a round feel, a lot of times what that usually means is that it has a lot of variety of flavors, but not any one flavor too much on its own. So medium roast, really great option this month. I think if you normally go for a Peru coffee as a medium roast, you'll feel right at home with this coffee too. Moving on to the dark roast, this is where we see the normal kind of richer, fuller flavor that we get out of a dark roast. We didn't take this coffee super dark by our standards especially, very short roast profile, so you're not going to get a super roast kind of heavy, a roast forward sort of flavor out of this one. Thicker, richer texture as you would expect. That nuttiness is still here. The creaminess kind of paired nicely with a like buttery feel. So it is going to have a fuller feel to it, especially relative to the light and the medium, but you're not going to lose that creamy consistency to it that we normally see out of our Mexican coffee profiles. The nuttiness will be a little bit subdued with a kind of a mild sweetness that is still there, just like the medium roast, but just not as strong, and just have just a fuller overall feel in your mouth as you drink it. So I think the tiny bit of smokiness that was introduced here for the dark roast too is quite pleasant, but it's so subtle that you're really not going to feel like you're drinking a dark roast coffee too much with this particular roast. If you are a person that normally avoids dark roast coffee profiles because you just don't like the thicker, richer, smokier, in your face, or even the bitter flavor sometimes that a dark roast can have, this might be something worth trying this month, especially if you normally sit on the medium or maybe even the light roast profile side of things. So I think that the dark roast has some very attractive aspects to it this month that if you are normally not a dark roast drinker, you might want to give this coffee a shot. You'll find some really great things in it. As far as the light roast goes, I think if you're maybe the flip side, the inverse there, if you're a person that normally goes for mediums because you like to avoid the lights, the sharper the acidity, the light roast would be a really great option for you this month too. I think the overall creaminess, lightness of this coffee and the overall round flavors that you get out of all three of these roast levels will be a really nice change of pace. And so I'm really looking forward to everyone giving this exotic, different Mexican coffee flavor profile a chance this month. And I hope to catch you next month for another great club coffee. Take care.